Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to refinish your AK wood set. Now this isn't the best way of doing it, this isn't the worst way of doing it, this is just how I've done it. You guys have seen about 6 months ago I did a similar video kind of telling you how to do it, but it's probably better to show you how to do it than just tell you how to do it, correct? So this is a standard plain Jane Romanian wood stock set from an AKM rifle, and I'm going to take it out and sand it all down, get it prepped, and restain it. You're going to need a few things for this. You're going to need a stain in whatever color you want. I haven't decided that yet, so I have to go figure out what I want and go get one. Going to need some sandpaper. I've got some, what is this, 220 grit, and then I've got some 800 grit to start off with. You'll need some rough and then some smooth, some steel wool, and as I said, you're going to need some stain, and also we're going to use Tung Oil, and I'll show you that when we get to the staining part. We're going to refinish this in Tung Oil. I like Tung Oil. It's easier to apply to polyurethane. I think it works a lot better, lasts a lot longer, so we're going to go with that. Now this video is going to take me a couple days, if not a week, if not longer, because I need to do several steps, so you'll notice the background will probably change several times. So anyway, I'm going to take this outside and start sanding on it, and we'll get started. Now as far as sanding it goes, there's not really any technique to it I've ever noticed. This wood is so rough and generally of poor quality as far as finish and how it looks goes that it really doesn't matter how you sand it. Just don't gouge it out. Obviously the finish you want to put on top wants to look nicer than this factory finish that comes on the rifle. So just go back and forth, take it easy. Do it by hand. I wouldn't recommend running it on a belt sander or anything. It doesn't take that long. A lot of guys will soak these in something to remove the finish, but I took the finish completely off in about 5 minutes worth of sanding, so I don't think it's really necessary. You obviously want to remove all the metal off of them. This sling swivel's got a rivet in there and I can't quite get it off, and I'll just sand around it. It's not really a big deal. But I took obviously the rear plate off. So but yeah, like I said, just get you some sandpaper and start. And you want to get the wood, all the finish off. So if you want to use the technique of boiling it off, you can do that. But I just prefer to sand on it. And I'll bring it back in here when I get it all sanded down. So there we go. About 20, maybe 30 minutes worth of sanding. Got all the old stain off of them, sanded them. You want to get them real smooth. They should be as smooth as a baby's butt to your hands when you get it on there. You need it to be smooth so the, well, generally the paint would stick to it, but since we're not painting, the stain and the finish will stick to it. Smooth them out, get any splinters on them, run your fingers across them, make sure you get everything. And there's a couple different ways you can prep them. Like I said, this is real inexpensive, poor quality Romanian wood with absolutely no nice patterns on it. I mean, it's about as plain as you can get. So I don't really spend a lot of time boiling it and trying to get the wood to look pretty on this simple furniture, especially for something that's a tactical rifle. I don't really see the point. So anyway, next step, we're going to stain this. This wood is fairly dark, and it's also, as you can see, the upper handguard's real light, and the stock is pretty light. The lower handguard's pretty dark because it's, you know, mismatched wood. So using a light stain, probably I wouldn't recommend on this stock set because you're really going to see that really ugly grain, and it's not going to match. So I'll probably go with a medium or a darker set on this. I have no idea what kind of stain I want to do, so I'm going to run to Lowe's here in a minute and go see what kind of stains they got and go pick one. If you're interested in matching some type of military spec rifle, of course you can go online and see what color AK stock sets are out there, but that's not really my thing for this set. This is just something for me to show you guys how to do it. So anyway, next thing you want to do is clean this set up and get it ready. I like to spray it with some degreaser, get all the wood grain off of it, and it tends to take any oils out of it. So we'll just take a piece here and we'll spray it with a little degreaser. I forget what kind I've got here. I think it's just called Awesome. And just spray it. Assuming your spray gun works, wipe it down. Now I suppose some of you guys are probably asking me, hey, what do you think about that shooting at the elementary school, you know, other than the obvious tragedy part of it? You know, why aren't you making videos about, you know, gun rights and stuff like that? And well, my idea is, you're on a gun channel. How do you think I feel about gun rights? and I figure at this point it's pretty much preaching to the choir. And actually, even if you go on anything but the Brady campaign for the Brady hate group, as I call them, because any group that seeks to deprive the rights of one class of citizens I would classify as a hate group. But if you go on any of those kind of sites or places, you'll pretty much get the same reaction. People going, that really sucks. But the last time we had a knee-jerk reaction to a tragedy, we ended up with the Patriot Act. And anybody who's flown an airplane in the past 10 years tell you how much fun that's turned out to be. Or anybody who's been put on a no-fly list. So, I would say a knee-jerk reaction is A, probably coming, and B, going to be really stupid. But hey, we lived through the gun ban before, and we'll get through it again. Hopefully somebody will filibuster it or whatever, but you know they're going to try and pass it. But then again, Dianne Feinstein tries to do one literally every year, and every year she fails. If you're really freaked out about it, my best advice is, one, if you haven't gone out and bought what they might ban, you might want to run out and do that. They can't ban whole rifles. I mean, they can, but they're not going to. And they're not going to ban ammunition. So if they do it, it'll be the same useless, stupid thing they did last time. So if you're worried about it, go out and buy you some 30-round magazines. Get you a barrel with it'll take a flash hider. And if you want to get your hands on a new collapsible stock, go get that, because gun banners are retards. And all they're going to do is ban the stuff on the guns that they think makes them look scary. So if you're that worried about it, go out and do that. Personally, I think they should let those kids' bodies go cold before they decide to have some kind of political action for it. So here I go saying I wasn't going to talk about it, and I ended up doing it. But oh yeah, what I was saying is, if you go on, let's say I go on Reddit every once in a while, to the gun forum, a couple other places, which is a pretty liberal site. Even Obama did a Ask Me Anything on Reddit. And except for a few number of the Europeans, most of them go, the number one problem is mental health. We don't have any mental health for these people, and there's a stigma in America against people getting help for their mental health issues. Which, having dated an ex-girlfriend whose mom was completely fucking nuts, clinically nuts, I completely agree with that. And I think they should reopen state institutions, nut houses, whatever you want to call them, and get some of these crazy people some mental health, because if you're actually going to stop them from doing something, that would do it. But like anything, solving mental health is something that would require actual work and wouldn't be able to be done in one bill and required a societal change. And damn it, politicians aren't about doing that. They want a quick fix so they can claim it on their political agenda. So that's what you're probably going to get. So anyway, I'm still cleaning these. So there you go. Now before I apply it, I'll spray that on there, excuse me, one more time to get any of my oil off my fingers. Because you guys could see I wasn't really handling it real well. I just wanted to mostly get the stuff off of it and soak them down, see what I had, make sure there wasn't any of that finish left on them, which I didn't see any. I'll give them a real close inspection. So anyway, I'm going to go right up to Lowe's and go pick me out a nice medium to medium dark color for this wood. And I'll see you guys, well, for you it'd be about a second. So I think I found a color I like. It's a nice medium color and appropriately named gun stock. I can't go wrong with that. And if I rip the stain off of it, need to replace it or refinish it, should be easy to remember. So let's get started. Now when you're doing this, you do want to wear gloves. Now if you're one of those big manly men who doesn't care if he gets his hands all dirty, well, you know, that's awesome and all, but that's not really the, reason you want to put on gloves. Your hands have got oils in them that can affect the finish. So let's not do that and wear gloves. And it does, of course, keep the finish or the stain from getting all over your hands. So you want to apply this with something clean, obviously. I got a cotton shirt. I've got a bunch of these wrong size cotton shirts. I think these are large or something. I don't know, they don't fit. So I use them for shop rags and stuff like that. It's clean, just came out of the package. So I'm going to use that. Any piece of clean cloth or clean cotton cloth. And we'll start putting it on there. Now this is stain, it's not paint. So don't be a panty waste about putting this on there. Apply it liberally. and just wipe it off so you don't have any big drips on it. But staining is pretty easy, at least in my experience. There's probably some furniture guys out there shaking their heads going, oh my god, you're doing it so wrong. But yeah, I've done it this way before and it works. That's kind of a nice color. It's like a medium, light medium brown. I think it'll look good on this stock. Like I said, you can use a lot, but just make sure you get it everywhere, and B, don't leave any big drips, because those will mess up your finish. But there's not really any science to it. Just put it on there. Make sure you get the back edges. Right. The stock is pretty easy since it's got its own handle right up here in the tang that you can grab onto. So I like this color. It's kind of like I said, it's like a medium brown with a little bit of red in it, so should look good once we get it all on there. Alright, you guys see how to do it, and I'll stop the camera here and we'll go on to the next step. So here it is just after one coat, and you can see a big difference in the three pieces I've done so far. It's almost a light, medium, dark, and I used the exact same amount on all of them. Like I said, when you got three different kinds of wood, three different shades, it's going to come out three different colors. If you want a really, really nice wooden stock set that's perfectly matching with good grain, you want to look at ironwood designs, or if you want to save a little bit of money, usually the Bulgarian surplus wood's really nice. But like I said, we're using what we got, and a lot of you guys out there have got Wasser 10s, and this is the wood you want to keep if you want to keep it. And so here's what we're looking at. Now we'll stain the darker if you want it darker, you just add more coats to it. So we're gonna sit here and let this dry for probably an hour. Well, actually, I'm gonna let it set for about 5 minutes, maybe 10, and then take another clean cloth and just wipe off all the excess, not access, and then we'll let it dry completely for like another hour, and then I'll add another coat and darken it up a little bit, see if I can get the pieces to match each other. If you got a space heater, heat gun, or hair dryer, you can just hold it up and dry it with that, and it'll be dry in about 5 minutes. But I need to make myself some lunch anyway, so that'll give me some time to let this stuff dry. Okay, so I've let these dry for actually a little longer than I had anticipated, for about 2 hours. Once I got the handguard the right color, which was only about one coat, my next job was to attempt, hang on a second, to get the other colors as close as possible. So in order to do that, I just kept adding coats until I got it all about the same darkness, or at least as close as I can get. So we ended up with something, since these two pieces are close together, like that. The bottom's still a little darker, but it's pretty close. So I used about one coat, maybe one, maybe two on this, about 4 on this top piece, since the wood was so dark, to get you a nice color. Now you could roll with this if you wanted to. The finish obviously isn't protected, and it would rub off pretty quickly, but if you like that satin kind of shine to it, this would work. But I want something a little more, trying to think of the word for it, a little more fanciful, I guess. So, and we're going to put the tung oil on it now. We're going to use, hang on here, let me get my, I think this is mid-wax. Yeah, mid-wax tung oil finish. Really like this stuff. It's easy to apply, leaves a really nice coat on there. The coat is water resistant, it seals the wood, it's also scratch resistant, and for all you hippies out there, it's 100% environmentally safe and biodegradable. So, just get yourself a pretty good amount and apply it on. It's pretty easy. Well, just like staining, there's not really a trick to it, just get a nice even coat. You do want to wear gloves with this, just because it's really, really sticky. But it won't hurt your hands if you get it on there. Just a nice coat, make sure it's all on there. And I'll apply this all on there, and we'll show you what's next. So I've got it sitting ready to dry. You don't want to get anything to touch this, so try and put it someplace to avoid any dust, or in my case, dog hair, from sticking to the finish. Otherwise, you'll have that under the coat. You need to let this stuff dry for, well, it gets real sticky and then it dries, I would say, for a couple hours. This is getting pretty late at night my time, so I might let this dry overnight. I would say about 5 hours would be plenty. So let it dry, and then what we're going to do is, once it's set up and dried, we're going to take some steel wool and go over it and reapply another coat, and then we'll add coat and reapply it, and we'll add another coat and we'll reapply it, so we get the way we look. It could take anywhere from 5 to 10 coats. So I'm probably going to call it a night for the night. We'll pick this up tomorrow, but it'll be instant for you guys, obviously, so you see then. Alrighty, so I was up pretty late last night till about, I don't know, 1 in the morning. And this stuff was dry, so I went ahead and buffed it down and put another coat on there. And then I got up really early this morning because I couldn't sleep, so I went in, it was dried again, and I buffed it and put another coat on it. So actually this is probably about coat 4, but I'll show you the process before I do it again. But it's pretty simple. Just take your steel wool I told you about, take your wood, make sure the finish is of course dried on it, and you're basically just giving it a light sanding. You want to make the surface smooth with your steel wool so that when you add another layer of tung oil, it sticks to it. You don't have to press hard, just give it a good once over, just give it a little bit of pressure. The finish should slightly dull, and you know you've done enough. Just do like that, and add another coat. As you can see, it's already starting to get pretty shiny, so it won't take very long. And of course, this is subjective to how much of a gloss you want. If you don't want it glossy at all, then just put 1 coat of tung oil on it and give it a buffing and let it set, and it'll protect the wood just fine, and it won't have almost any shine to it. If you want that, looks like it's been dipped in glass kind of shine, then you'll need to add more coats, and the more coats, the shinier it's going to get. You can keep adding, as long as you keep buffing, you can add as many coats as you want. So it's up to you. But just buff it like that with your steel wool, double out steel wool, and keep adding coats. And I'll put another coat on this and get it the way I want it, and I'll show you guys the end product. Alright, the last coat's on it now. It's drying off, and I think I've achieved what I was looking for. Not too bad for ugly Romanian wood. The whole point of the stain is really to bring out the wood fibers, and even on this butt ugly Romanian wood, you can see it's got these nice little swirl patterns into it. It really brings out the detail in even an ugly laminated, you know, piece of wood. So I think it turned out really well. The stock looks really nice, which is where you're going to be looking at it most of the time. The hand guards aren't too bad. Now the shininess, it'll dull a little bit as it finishes drying, but it'll pretty much stay that way. It'll take a couple more hours. The hand guard, the upper hand guard was the lightest piece, lower hand guard was the darkest piece. So I got them pretty close. I don't think it turned out too bad. So anyway, guys, that's a how-to guide to refinishing it. Now, if your furniture is damaged, there's a lot of ways you can do. If you can fill it with wood putty and sand it down. Some guys use 5-minute epoxy, especially if it's on the inside, and that seems to work. Now, obviously, if it's laminate and it's on an outside area and you see it, it's not going to accept the stain like regular wood. So you can fix it, but it's probably not going to look real pretty. But this is more or less just kind of a how to get it to that state. Like I said, this took me 2 or 3 days of work, and really it was mostly waiting, just letting this tung oil dry. And if I'd have had a heat gun, which I do, I just can't find it, I probably could have made it take a lot less time. But it was just sitting around, and it's something I'm doing on my off days. So I hope everybody finds that useful. I'm probably going to take that other video down because it seems kind of redundant now to have it and this one. So I hope everybody likes it. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the stock set yet. I don't have a rifle to put it on. So I might have a contest in the future and use it as a giveaway if everybody likes it. But we'll see we'll see in the future. So thanks a lot, guys. I hope this found it useful. If you're a woodworker and you've got some advice, or you just want to say you're doing it wrong, well, tell me why I'm doing it wrong and show me how to do it right. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. I'll talk to you guys later.